In July 2020, the federal government recategorized sports as a business sector of the Nigerian economy, with the transformation to be made based on private sector initiatives and investments into the ancillary sectors of the value chain of sports. The recategorization was the culmination of a 2-year engagement process on the sports industrialization agenda with sports industry stakeholders by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sport Development (FMYSD) and the Nigerian Economic Summit Group (NESG) to examine how to reposition the sports sector from a purely participatory endeavor to a business and viable industry driven by the private sector. The agenda was an outcome of several engagements at Nigerian Economic Summits (NES #22-24) and developed as the fulcrum of sports as business, driven by its 3 I's and 1 P strategy, addressing the infrastructure gap as a catalyst for the development of the sports industry across all segments of its value chain, attracting the quantum of investment required to achieve the goals and targets outlined for developing sports as an industry, outlining the incentives needed to attract the determined level of investment and how the government ensures the inclusion of the private sector in developing the sports industry through market-based policies and incentives. Creating a policy that will provide incentives for the mobilization of investment in infrastructure development as a foundation of a vibrant and sustainable sports industry. According to the Federal Minister of Youth and Sport Development, Mr. Sunday Dare, sports will drive the largest real estate and infrastructure development in the country in the future. In keeping with this forecast, a draft National Sport Industry Policy has been prepared for approval by the Federal Executive Council. The policy prioritizes rapid infrastructure development to be driven by incentivized investments deriving from the recognition of a deficit in the provision of facilities for sports development across the country. This deficit underpins the challenges in promoting mass participation in sports as a strategy for creating demand for sports goods and services and has been the biggest impediment to private sector investment in the sports sector. The policy goal is to deliver the following key outcomes over the next 10 years. Mass participation. GDP contribution. Job creation, 2 to 3 million direct and indirect jobs. Infrastructure and facility development. Tax revenues. Wellness, productivity and life expectancy. Sport tourism. Increase in foreign direct investment. Gender inclusion and balance. Reduction in sport-related educational and medical tourism by 15 to 20%. Given these expected outcomes, it was clear that the achievement of these objectives and goals will require the channeling of available resources, investment, and opportunities by the private sector to assist government in the implementation of the policy, especially at subnational levels where the impact of the policy will be more felt. In the light of the foregoing, Sport Nigeria was created as a private sector-led initiative to aggregate, facilitate, and enable the requisite investment into the sports sector and achievement of the objectives of a vibrant, sustainable sports industry across the entire value chain, according to the outlines of the sports industry policy. Who we are. Established in 2021, Sport Nigeria is a limited by guarantee private sector initiative set up to assist in aggregating the quantum of investment required to trigger the objectives of a repositioned sports industry by engaging with the private and social enterprise sectors to facilitate the development of the value chain of the sports industry. Sport Nigeria will complement government sports development efforts at national and subnational levels and average the potentials and opportunities from the sports industrialization agenda for the successful development of a thriving industry and a significant contributor to the Nigerian economy. Sports Nigeria was established to operate in the following capacity: a private sector-led intervention agency for the development of the sports industry in Nigeria, to harness investment, development, and private sector funds. Implementation of the strategies for the development of sports as a platform for economic, social, and youth development. Objectives: aggregating and deploying local and foreign investments into the sports industry value chain, facilitating the development of key sectors of the sports industry, enabling the development of a viable sports industry in Nigeria. Focus areas / target sectors: social impact projects, spaces for sport, S4S, and promoting MSMEs in the sports industry. Commercial impacts projects, industrial parks, sports hubs, professional sports club development, and content and media projects. Critical success factors are facilitating the sports reform process to ensure sustainability and effective management. Functionality: a fit-for-purpose organization with clearly defined targets and fixed timelines. Forward planning: where we are in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years to ensure sustainability and quality of projects embarked upon. Partnerships: fruitful relationships with industrial and individual champions, organizations, and platforms, especially at the foundation stage. Funding and investment: the target is to focus on investment in product and market development to drive the aggregation of the funds. Sport Nigeria: redefining engagement, redefining sports business.